Well, hello. Hello, hello, gorgeous creatures. Hello. How is everybody? Are we good? Are we good? Well, let's see what's going on here. There we go. All right. We are ready to rock and roll. I just need to grab my cards. Hello, my fellow sensitive people. Shalom. Boker Tov. Good morning. How do you like the camera? This is the new computer. As many of you know, the old computer died. So, yeah. So, this is the new MacBook. As you can see, it's got a pretty good camera on it. And manifester. Yes, I'm a manifester. I have not replaced the old chair. It is very dusty over here right now. My cat is undergoing a major shedding. So if I cough today, I apologize. Yes, I've been to the doctor. Yes, I've been diagnosed. Yes, I have nasal polyps. Yes, my lung function is excellent. No, I am not dying of TB. Yes, I am allergic to my cat. Um, so I've been dusting today a little bit, not a lot, but my nose was a little runny. So if I cough today, I apologize. How is everybody? All right. Hi, Mark. How are you? You're headed to LA? Oh, back to San Francisco. Oh, too bad. I wish I had been there to hang out with you. Mark is a dear friend. He's a publicist out of San Francisco and often gives us great celebrity tips to keep things popping. Now that, for example, the pictures are coming out of Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein at Balmoral Castle, we now have a better understanding of the function of Meghan Markle, right? People were trying to figure out why they were targeting her and making her a demon. And those of us who lived in LA for years, worked in LA, served the community, knew Meghan. She's shy in real life, by the way. We couldn't figure out why everybody was attacking Meghan because it's like, Meghan? Megan never bothers anyone. She's quiet. She's very unassuming when she's shopping. She used to come to Earth Bar and get smoothies. I'm going to give you private information about Meghan Markle that it's intimate private information. Okay, if you are in West Hollywood, I think I got something up on my nose. If you're in West Hollywood and you stop by Earth Bar to get a smoothie, get the Meghan Markle, which is the berry slim. That was what she would always order. The berries after yoga. Was she at Nine Bridges? Anybody know? I think she was at Nine Bridges. She would do the yoga. Or was she at there was a yoga Vipassana flow down the street also. Anyway, she used to come in on Sundays and that was her drink, the berry slim, and then grab some vitamins or whatever. She wasn't crazy. She wasn't a narcissist. She was shy, very shy. She was a shy yogi, very professional, very together. She looked like she had it together, disciplined. She gave off the energy of being, kind of like those kids that you meet that go to the conservatory to learn the violin, that have the strict parents that make them, you must study violin 4 hours a day, and then you could tell her mama raised her right. Anyway, so that would be examples of dishing the dirt out of LA. Yeah, Imagine if people knew the truth that the whole Meghan Markle thing is just fake, 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 fake. Look at that. It melted. I had it near the heater, and my candle melted a little bit. So it's kind of whimsical, like me. But yeah, no, Megan's very sweet. She doesn't bother people. She doesn't harass people. She's very quiet because they were trying to cover up the degree to which. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that that is where the queen had her breakfast? I mean, can you imagine that? Can you imagine how are they going to explain that? So this was right around the time. Let me go ahead and mute this. This was right around the time when they started the anti-Megan campaign, right? You guys remember that campaign? And you guys couldn't figure it out. Like, well, she's great. Why are they out making all this racism and stuff? It was right around this time that all this stuff started to come out, right? This is the power of the press, right? The press can manipulate you to think all kinds of things.
Newly released Epstein files include emails from 2001 between Ghislaine Maxwell and someone signing as A from Balmoral. The sender, using an anonymous email, asks Maxwell rather if new inappropriate friends were found for him. The emails reference Balmoral summer camp for the British royal family and the sender's recent departure from the Royal Navy. This is the 8th batch of over 11,000 files totaling 30,000 pages, the largest release by the US Justice Department since Friday. The files include court records, photos, emails, flight logs, videos, and grand jury materials from Epstein's cases and investigations into his death. The files also include claims that Donald Trump flew on Epstein's jet at least 8 times between 1993 and 1996, more than previously reported. The Justice Department says some documents contain untrue claims against Trump submitted before the 2020 election.
Not friendly, but they're, he was around.
Newly released
So, what's the takeaway? Find a target, right? This goes back to what we see with Donald Trump also, right? That if you are under attack, you have to create an enemy, right? You have to create an enemy. You have to deflect from the horrible. So if something horrible is happening in your backyard, see, Meghan Markle was never accused of child abuse or child molestation or harboring a pedophile, the largest, most notorious pedophile ring globally impacting some of the most powerful people in the world, hosting that at Balmoral, which appears to be what maybe we're looking at with these parties, hosting summer retreats and get-togethers. So you got to have a victim. You got to have another target. You've got to have a demon to deflect away from what is staring you in the face, that the royal family was hosting these parties. And that it was eventually going to blow. And it wasn't just Andy, it was Andy and Andy's friends, hosted on British taxpayers' dime, or in this case, British pound. Guys, want to talk about it? Meghan was the sacrifice. She was the sacrifice. She was the, I met her, the owner of Earth Bar. She used to come in every Sunday. Nobody who ever worked with her, ever had any dealings with her, ever did business with her, ever at any time whatsoever prior to this crazy with who'd she marry? She married Harry. It just wasn't Meghan. It's just not the person that we knew from West Hollywood. It's just that person doesn't exist. And so it was a construct. And you have to view it as it was a construct. They constructed it. You have to ask yourself, why did they construct it? Well, I think it's very obvious why they constructed it. They constructed it because just as she was marrying into this family, she was young and in love. She had no idea what the heck was going on. She had no idea that this was about to blow. What did she know? She was dating Harry, right? So you can read the rest of this article. This is BBC Canada. This is stuff you won't get in the United States. A lot of the time you have to go to affiliates, or here they are in Britain on their vacation where they were Epstein. They were invited to Balmoral for a party. Look, it's your country, Britain. You can sit around hating Meghan, the witch Meghan, and her mentally unstable sister, half sister Samantha, who had her own children put into foster care because she's mentally unstable and has a drug problem. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. God help her. And she has medical problems as a result of the life she lived. You know, she lived a hard life and now she's got a lot of health problems. So, but all of that, and we all have somebody like that in America. We all have the family member that has a drug problem, or the family member that will sell their soul for $1, right? So they dug up somebody like that with Meghan, and they made her life a living hell for no reason other than the fact that they were deflecting from the fact that it would appear from the evidence coming out that the royal family was hosting these parties at their lodges and private estates. So people have wanted to talk to me about Israel's involvement. They know I'm an Israeli, and I'm an old-time Israeli. I'm a leftist. Before Netanyahu destroyed our country, but we were all about integration, peace, love, rock and roll, share the land, you know, all that good stuff. But it's those days are gone, right, with the crazy Netanyahu regime. But do I think that the Israelis had dirt? Yes, because the Israelis are hired to supply security to over 100 separate nations. Y'all know that? So they are the best at cybersecurity in the world. They supply cybersecurity to the Vatican. They share, and they are also a NATO partner, so they share security intelligence with MI6, with the British, with the United States, etc. So Epstein had claimed he was a Saudi resident. He was a Saudi citizen. That's what he claimed on his fake Austrian passport. That tells us that a lot of different countries were involved. A lot of different countries were involved, but the fact that we're focusing on Israel specifically, I think that in and of itself is anti-Semitic, because the number one guilty party is the United States, right? It's happened, started here in the United States, and then it went on to our NATO partners, Britain, and then beyond that into but I don't think it was started by the Israelis. I think the Israelis were collecting data just like everybody else, and they were happily collecting data just like everybody else. Great to see you here. So I just wanted to mention that that was the thing that came up in the remotes. Now, there was a suicide also that happened. And the thing that's going on with the investigation into Epstein isn't just the fact that Balmoral Castle was hosting some of these parties. But the other thing you're going to start hearing about is Epstein's money laundering and how money was involved with Russian mob. And the link between the British aristocracy and the Russian aristocracy. And you have this old money history, right, of the Russian aristocracy and the British aristocracy through Queen Victoria, right? So the Russians under Tsar Putin wanted to foster that. Now, what was going on in Britain during the time of Victoria? Well, it was the time of socialism and a lot of social reform. So the socialists were taking hold in Great Britain, and Great Britain was responding with divide and conquer. They were trying to take over India, they were trying to take over anywhere and everywhere, right? And China, Asia, the Opium Wars, right? And you had this reaction, which was the socialism coming in. But the socialists weren't only trying to tear down the aristocracy in Britain, they were also attempting to tear down the aristocracy in Russia, right? So there was this relationship that starts to happen between this solidarity of Russia and Britain to try and counter this attack by the socialist. And so what you have is this long relationship that Putin hoped that as an anti-socialist, Putin, who's an Ayn Rand toting, bring back the church, the Holy Church of Russia. He loves this, right? And so he loves the bootlegging, he loves the pirating, he loves the cryptocurrency, and basically making crime legal because they were able to engage in all kinds of money laundering, but they were also able to bribe people. They were also able to bribe people. And how they bribed people is they took aristocrats who were in positions of power, but didn't necessarily have money, or maybe they didn't handle their money well, and offered them a way out. And one of those people who was always in financial trouble was Prince Andrew. So you have to ask yourself, where was the money coming from? If they were borrowing money from Epstein, and Epstein had ties to money laundering and the Russian mob and everything else, then ultimately, where was Thomas Kingston's money coming from? Because Thomas Kingston was involved in finance. Not only was he involved in finance, but in addition to being involved in finance, he was handling the finances of wealthy aristocrats out of Britain. And there was some kind of a fight that breaks out. And this is the point at which he was married to Lady Gabriella Windsor, and takes his life. He also, I believe, got off his Paxil or whatever medication he was on, and they think that may have also been an adverse effect. But when you remote view it, I'm seeing questionable financial activities. And those financial activities got traced back to blackmail schemes, the Russian mob, and this old relationship between Russia and the British aristocracy. And in fact, when you Google Thomas Kingston, that's what you find. You find that he was involved in money schemes and investing, some of which involved money for overseas activities, which could have involved Russian laundering, etc. Guys, want to talk about it? How disgusted are you? Why do people worship the royals? A bunch of spoiled brats that think that they're entitled to anything and everything at the expense of everybody else. So let's talk a little bit about Sasha. Sasha Riley Barrows. Sasha Riley Barrows, who claimed that he was being trafficked by hillbillies out of Oklahoma. It involves several states: Texas, Tennessee, Oklahoma, right? According to Sasha Riley, there comes a point when he's older. This is the third tape that just got dumped 2 days ago because people were trying to figure it out. How could this kid out of Oklahoma wind up with a guy who's involved in trafficking elite models? Like that's he's going to the hillbillies. According to Sasha, he gets sold. That the hillbillies make money by selling him, and they got to get rid of him. The other thing is the hillbillies have to get rid of him, and they have to get him out of that area because Child Protective Services is involved. He's already gotten involved with Child Protective Services in the past, right? They've already got a case on him. So what do? According to Sasha, in his latest post, they sell him to a bunch of rich people. They sell him to a bunch of rich people. They sell him to a bunch of rich people, and at that point, those rich people start sending him to a different type of party, which is a richer party. So this is happening sometime around 1983, and that's the point at which he gets introduced to Donald Trump. It's right around 1983, and that's the point at which he gets sold to a different clientele, right around 1983. Right around 1983 is the point at which Sasha claimed that he was a trafficked child out of Oklahoma. And then some rich people came to town and bought up parts of the operation. They bought some of the kids and brought them to a different part of the country for a different type of party, a different type of clientele. It's interesting that you have this picture of Epstein and as he remembers himself in 1983, scrappy, torn jeans, giving balloons to children. He's starting some kind of an operation in 1983. And the consequences of this scheme result in extreme wealth by 2003. What a great country. The scheme, according to Sasha Barrows, was to take these hillbillies that were making snuff tapes and sex tapes and elevate it, right? Bring it to another level, which was that they were going to start filming things and blackmailing participants. And then taking half. I'll take half. I'll take half of Wexler's money. I'll take half of Trump's money. I'll take half of this person's money. It's a great country. There are so many horrible, awful people for me to blackmail. That I've got on my own island and my own private jet. So when you put the pieces together, you start to realize that we're in a very different world than we thought we were in. Yeah. Okay, so that is the meditation that I had. Was I just wanted to share that is the big explosion. So we have blinders on. They just want to keep filling our heads with a bunch of crazy stuff about Meghan Markle and not have you see what is in front of you. Don't see what is in front of you. You ever heard of myopia or farsightedness? Something that happens. There's myopia and there's presbyopia when things are too far away. You have to pull back. Things are, what is it? Farsightedness, right? You got to pull back. You got to pull back from the situation because you're so close, because it's so obvious. That you think that can't be, your brain clicks off. That can't be right. We gotta find some old prejudice. Well, we'll blame a black lady. Meghan, she's new. She's the weakest link in the chain. Let's go after her. And she's black. We'll just feed on British racism, which is almost as bad as American racism. We invented eugenics in order to keep ourselves in power when the socialists started a revolution in Britain. We invented the science of racism to support and hold up the British aristocracy. Us and our rich friends having parties. And look at the smile on Gillet. She is the cat that has caught the canary. She knows that by filming at this location, she knows that they've been blackmailing. They've got ties to every mafia, to every intelligence agency. They've got reams of data on so many people, and they know that the intelligence agency is letting them do it because they got a lot. Andrew is bringing a lot of dirt. He's bringing a lot of his friends, and they're collecting a lot of information, and they're collecting a lot of money. No such thing as a free lunch. No such thing as a free child victim, right? SA victim. Video is frozen. Can you hear me? Can you see me now? Let me know if you see me. Let me see. Looks like there's 491 people here, so you should be able to see me. Okay. So there was something else I wanted to mention about this. Oh, yeah. I want to talk a little bit about Peter Thiel and this fantasy that Peter Thiel has that we have to submit to this authoritarian, he wants us to be at the mercy of these people, right? Let's see here. So what that means in plain English is that we will be controlled by the man, and in time we will surrender to the fact that they control artificial intelligence and artificial intelligence controls us. That's Peter Thiel and Elon Musk vision. That is the dystopian future. So they will back down from ICE, but they're assuming that in time you'll get used to it. And give them time to begin to roll out the big guns. The big guns are the artificial intelligence that's going to be used to break up crowds. And one of the things that they're going to start using to break up crowds, and I can tell you this here, I'm going to mark it and I write it down, is they're going to be using bulldozers. Not just any bulldozer. These are not just any bulldozer. These are artificial intelligence bulldozers, right? So what they can do is they can go in and move a crowd. Those are the AI bulldozers. This is Gaza. So eventually that guy is going to be gone. And that those vehicles will likely be used for crowd control. So they're unmanned. The scary thing about what they plan to do is they plan on putting these in areas where, predominantly Black people live. This is what they're planning. And the purpose is to control crowds. They they will just bulldoze us. That's what they're planning on doing. Everybody thinks it sounds so cool. Everybody thinks it sounds so cool, this idea of this type of heavy equipment being used by AI. But it isn't just that it's going to take away people's jobs. The concern is that it could be militarized, that it could be used in the military as a way of, for example, crowd control. If you had a couple of those set up at the local mall or the local parking lot where people are shopping at Costco or wherever, and you've got a couple of those that are activated that can just come in and start mowing down the crowd if there's any kind of a problem. And they're actually already being used in some areas to clear in Gaza. So ICE agents are going to be safe, right? There won't be any, we can get rid of the ICE agents, but we're just going to have AI and bulldozers plowing down protesters. So that's something to think about. Like, this is what we're up against. This is who these people are. This is what we're up against. And I'm glad that I could at least share it with you. So, how do we get people to see the obvious? How do we get people to proactively get involved so that these psychopaths don't fulfill their dystopian fantasies, which get pretty dark in terms of human rights in general? Oh, thank you, Meredith. That's very kind of you. I did put a little bit of eye makeup on today. I came out of a shower. Thank you. You're very kind. All right. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and do the empath prayer. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we go into the empath prayer? There is a catastrophic fallout, according to Midas Touch, about these protests. But my concern is that people will get used to it, that they'll pull back. But then in time, it's like, oh, here we go. Another, another whatever, another protest. The concern being that we get used to it. Okay, let's see here. Customization, details. All right, I've got to fix this stream before we get started. Customization. We want it for subscribers. I forgot to do this. I got wrapped up in that Meghan thing. I just don't like bad people. I don't like bad people doing bad things. Where is. Okay, gotta do that. All right, here we go. I'm getting there. Oh, what was it called? All right. So we. Hold on. I thought I already did this. Dang. This is strange. I already did this. I'm trying to add our fundraiser, and here it is. All right. Our fundraiser was A Joyful Heart, which is the fundraiser for helping families, women and children who are trying to find a place to live, shelters, victims of domestic violence. If you find this stream entertaining, our Sunday shows are donated to charity. So our charity is A Joyful Heart. I also wanted to announce that we have a new book of the month. Yes, finally. Frozen again? Oh, maybe because I was on the other on the other area. Okay, so it should be fine. Sorry, I had something else opened I was doing. All right, it should be fine. Okay, should be fine. I'm not fine? Oh, I'm back. Yeah, I was just checking the stream. Sorry about that. All right, so our book of the month is Rainbow Weather. Rainbow Weather, and it's been written by Kat Coach, and it's a series of short stories about life in West Cork, Ireland. I love West Cork, Ireland. Beautiful part of the world. And do not pick up this book if you're afraid of travel. Of course, I love to travel. So, anyway, hopefully she'll be in our studio next month. I have to reach out to her. Um, yeah. So, Cat Coach, you are our selected book of the month. Congratulations. Okay, well, let's go ahead. We're going to do the MPAS prayer. If you would like to be included in our prayers today, please give us your name or the name of somebody you love who you'd like us to pray for, and we will include them in our prayers today. Thank you all so much for being here. And again, if you would like to contribute to our fundraiser, we are raising money for A Joyful Heart, which supplies homes, housing for women and children who are escaping domestic violence. So thank you again. And all donations are for charity. All of the charity, all the money from today goes to charity for our Sunday show. Thank you. All right, let's do the MPAS prayer. Okay. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate you all. I want to call on white light protection from myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic Records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, as a community, we say, Amen. And for those of you who are seeking a healing today, we come together at this time and we pray. We pray that you and those you love receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and in spirit. And together again we say, Amen, Amen, Amen. May all souls be healed. May all souls be healed. Well, I felt your prayers. They were very beautiful. Thank you. Presopia, yeah. I always had trouble pronouncing that. Presopia. Hope nothing lights on fire. It went flying. These matches have been the same for how many generations? Like these are the matches I knew as a child. You'd think with modern science, they would stop producing these. But yeah. All right. So we're going to go ahead and give you the collective reading for the week. This reading applies to you at the time that you see the reading. And we'll also see if we can get some information about what's going on globally as presbyopia. Thank you. Presbyopia. I can never pronounce that. You're the best. Thank you. Internal. Yeah, I went through medical school and I would be like, a lot of medical students fake it. Gilbert's syndrome is Gilbert syndrome, right? It's a lot of things that are just strange pronounced. Duodenum, or is it duodenum or duodenum? We're always arguing about how to pronounce things. All right, let's take a look. Stethoscope. Spell arrhythmia. That's what they asked us in cardiology. Spell arrhythmia. All right, what is going on this week? Let's take a look. The fall of Donald Trump. Look, I was impressed. He walked all the way up the plane. Those were like 3 flights of stairs. That impressed me. Because with congestive heart failure, it's not easy to walk up all those stairs. But Donald Trump did manage to walk up all of those stairs. Now, we predicted that he was at a level 2 or 3, right? A level 2 or 3 when it came to his heart health, what they call the New York Heart Assessment, congestive heart failure. 2 or 3 would be mild to moderate. Right? Trump says he's skipping the Super Bowl. It's too far away. It's too far away for me to fly. I can't fly there. It's greater than 4 hours, right? So this goes back to the conversations we had about Mr. Trump's health. And we had said that his flight was limited. And that's because he's at a level 2, 3. So when it starts to get more severe, he can't go more than 4 hours. Now, he did already one long distance flight, which was 8 hours. He went all the way to Davos, right? But he was in pretty bad shape. He probably received diuretics and everything else. He's also got some cognitive decline, we've noticed. But The travel restrictions is something that I think is going to be the giveaway. Trump's flying far less, 8 international trips to 13 countries in 2025 versus 19 his first term. So he's flying half as much. So they have to come up with some fake story, right? To cover up why. Oh, he's focusing on America first. Well, San Francisco's in America. So he's already had one international trip, so he's probably being told not to fly, which is why he didn't get to go to Mar-a-Lago after he returned to DC. He had to have some downtime. He can't be going up and down, up and down, and up and down like he used to. Limiting the amount of times he hits the air is basically what happens. All right, where you are at right now. Thank you so much for that donation to charity. Sybil has donated $4.99 to help victims of domestic violence. Thank you. All right. Where we are at right now is the Hierophant. At this time in your life, it is advised that you focus on what are your higher ethos. What do you believe is the right thing to do? The Hierophant is the higher ethos. And the higher ethos is the law of the land in the Constitution. Yeah, but Trump is booed also in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is far more right wing than Orange County. And there will be people from Orange County there. You know, there will be conservatives there as well. So I don't, he's used to being booed. That's the distance. I think it's exactly because we know he can't fly long distance. So he couldn't fly to Mar-a-Lago after he got back. So there are only so many. He's been booed before. They hate him in DC. There are more Democrats in DC than Los Angeles, percentage wise. You know, it's like 86 to 90% Democrat in DC. So was it the Washington Redskins? Is that what they're called? I don't know. I don't watch sports. All right. So keep to your higher ethos with the Hierophant, and big changes are happening. So I always get the same thing when I go into our energy, and that is that it's really important for us to try and be as grounded as possible and to not lose sight of what our priorities are. And I think that without the support of Fox News, it's going to be really hard for Trump to survive. Interesting also thing that's coming in right now is this card that has to do with poverty, particularly poverty that is associated with spiritual poverty. So we may be feeling at this time that there are things we need to do in order to level up our own ethics. How are you treating yourself? How are you treating other people right now? Are you practicing what you preach? Strife and rapid change is coming. But there is also this desire to get into something, a deeper connection with spirit, the desire to get back to the church or back to the basics. There's conflict and strife coming this week. This could be that we're seeing more fighting in Congress. People are starting to get scared. First, it was denial, but after Davos, after he threatened Iceland, he doesn't know the difference. Greenland, Iceland, it's all the same to him. A patch of ice, right? But you see this energy. This is strife and rapid change. This is fighting. This is locked out of the church. This is the higher ethos, which is also the constitution of the law of the land, the higher ethos. It's just this abandoning. I feel like we're moving away from or abandoning Trump. But I also feel energetically that we're moving towards something higher or something greater. I'm really worried about this JD Vance thing that's moving in. You know, JD Vance is probably being groomed to be the next president. And Republicans have all the control and Democrats have no control. And the cabinet, or we have less control. We don't have control of the Supreme Court. We don't have control of Congress. We don't have control of the Senate. And we don't have control of executive branch. So whether we like it or not, they have control. And while they have control, they're going to push what they want to push as much as possible. And there isn't really a lot we can do about it other than to tell people to get out the vote, protest, educate your neighbors, right? But there's this feeling of betrayal that we have been betrayed. And this fighting. And the only thing we have to look forward to if they get rid of Trump is a younger version of Trump, because this is Peter Till's guide. This is automatic AI generated bulldozers to as crowd control. So the only thing we have to look forward to if Trump leaves is a younger version of Trump. But the good news is that JD Vance is not as popular unless they really work on the propaganda spin, which they're entire and completely hypnotize people into thinking he's God's gift to the world, mascara and all, you know, eyeliner, mascara. But there is this sense of betrayal. I keep feeling that there's major political changes that are happening between now and April also, and that there could be a brain drain in the United States. That's the other thing that I'm concerned about is a brain drain. I'm concerned that so many people are leaving the United States, we could see a massive brain drain. More and more people come into session with me as a tarot reader, as a remote viewer. I do Vedic astrology also, but they come in because they want to know if they want to do astrocartography. They want to know if do I need to get out of here? Do I need to leave the country? And what's scary is that I'll use artificial intelligence. I'll look at data, and I expect the artificial intelligence to comfort me and say, no, you don't need to leave. But instead, it's saying, well, honestly, you'd have a better retirement package in Chiang Mai, Thailand. You know, you would do better in Rosarito, Mexico. You'd do okay in Albania, right? Isn't Kay, didn't she immigrate to Albania? So, Eight of Cups could indicate that many of us are just done. That week, it's like, oh my God, I can't do 8 years of JD Vance. I don't. I want to live in a country where they outlaw AI bulldozers, right? If you decide that you, my concern is that we go from the flame to the fire, right? With this, and so many people hold on to your ethics, but also get out of the line of fire. So that seems to be the message for those people that want to stay in the United States. There's this: be about your business. Do not put yourself in harm's way. The Knight of Swords is that angry ice energy. Ice, ice, baby. It is the ice horse. Icy cold winds. The horse is made of ice. And it's violent and it's brutal. And its time is winter. Fall and winter. Fall. The health, your health and the health of the nation becomes a concern. Go back to the things that make you healthy. Be patient, pray, and keep your ethics in line because this will pass. This will pass. It's interesting. A lot of people are taking their cars and leaving. A lot of people are just downsizing, getting in their car and heading for the border. And they're just going to drive until they see something they like. Wind up in Guatemala, you know. There is this kind of Four of Swords is to pull back, to restrict, get away from things that are toxic, that don't represent your values. It also could be a time when you're ending relationships with violent aggression. We don't have to have relationships with people that are abusive and cruel to us just because they're relatives. That could be another thing that's happening in people's interpersonal lives, is that we're ending a lot of relationships here. That she's about her business. She's just I'm just taking care of me. Four of Swords, I'm just taking care of my money. Four of Pentacles, I'm just holding on to my money. If I have to, I will physically get up and leave. I will. This is like Jainism. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to fight with you. I just want to eat my brown rice and tofu and be left alone. I'm good. I'm good. I'm out. So there is look at all this fighting. This is like Congress. Look at this. Because they're in a cult. They've been brainwashed. It's going to be very, very difficult for them to come out of this. But yeah, so just my feeling is take care of yourself. Be really consistent in your prayer work, your meditation work. I am very, very happy and very, very content I'm too content. That's the problem. I'm too content in my studio apartment. I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to lie in my bed and read books and look at YouTube videos. That's bad. To be that comfortable is actually dangerous. You need to have a little bit of a challenge in your life, right? But if you're talking about long-term retirement, if the situation in the United States does not change dramatically really, really soon, if you are able to do so, you may feel that it's better to retire somewhere else. It's a better health care and far more affordable in many other parts of the world, like Thailand. Your money goes further. Nobody cooks. None of the immigrants I know in Thailand, because you can eat anything you want, and a meal is usually not more than $5. So it's like they've got a couple of basic things in their fridge, like juice and coffee. But if Chiang Mai, you can get a beautiful one bedroom for under $500 a month, even cheaper if you're willing to go to smaller parts of Thailand. Parts of India are great. You don't need a lot of money to retire in India. Not all of India is trashy, so there's some nice areas. So I'm just looking at that Eight of Cups, and they're saying if that's what you have to do to be safe, do it. That's what Kay did. Kay didn't have any money, hardly any money. She wasn't a rich woman. She was just like, I'm going to Albania. I'm out. Bye. She's gone. Social Security, I'm fine. I'm in Albania. Apartment costs $200 a month. I'm good. Y'all can do whatever you're going to do. I'm in Albania. Great bread. Great bread in Albania. Okay. And great dairy and amazing tomatoes. You guys like cheeses and good sourdoughs? Yeah, really good cheeses, really good soups. Not a lot of money. I just don't want to go anywhere. I traveled so much the last 2-3 years, and now I'm in this place where I don't want to go anywhere. But a lot of people are doing it. They're selling anything and everything. They're having garage sales, $100 here, $100 there. Getting a 1-year visa for Slovakia or Scandinavia or wherever. I don't know what to do with myself. I know I want to be comfortable, and I'm too comfortable. That's my problem. That's my problem. I'm too comfortable. Yes, I need to struggle more. That's what I need. I need more struggling. Struggle. Yes. This is backwards. There I go. Hello, darlings. Yeah, I don't know. Anybody here thinking about leaving? I don't know. What are we going to do, folks? What are we going to do? All right. Sherry Weber, Sherry Weber, 9468, 9468. We welcome you. We welcome you to the Oracle of Whimsy. Thank you. You are our next and best and our newest, that's what they say, our newest YouTube member. If you are a YouTube member and you are at the Elders and Empaths level, join us tonight at 5 p.m. where we will be exploring the art of remote viewing. We'll be talking about the human energy field, its various different chakras or organs, and how you too can connect with the with your environment and be a great remote viewer and learn to do what we do. All right, so that's 5 p.m. tonight. Be there or be square, as we say. Yes, yes. So that's 5 o'clock. We are going to be talking about the anatomy of the human energy field, and how people are able to remote view. And we will have 2 targets, and you will be allowed to participate in and experience 2 remote viewing locations. So that is happening tonight at 5 o'clock. All right. Is U.S. Iceland. Oh, right. Is Stephen Miller running the White House? Well, he's a freaking Nazi. I mean, that guy is out to lunch. He looks like a Nazi. I mean, like, he looks like he would be so happy hanging out with Himmler and Goebbels and yeah. Energy over Stephen Miller. He's a speechwriter. I see him traveling. You can't get me on anything because it's free speech. So he just thinks that he doesn't have any fear of arrest or legal action against him because he's just a speechwriter. So it's his job. It's his job to make the president look good. The people that work with him are going to get rid of him. The people that work with Stephen Miller are going to have a problem with Stephen Miller. 10 of Swords is his outcome, which would indicate that somebody is going to stab him in the back or take him out. Happens very, very quickly. He's going to be isolated from other members of the cabinet. I feel like the cabinet, the sane members of the cabinet, are coming in and they're going to push him out. Who's this woman, deputy chief? Is that what she was called? Chief deputy or whatever? That spoke to the... I'm seeing this woman, this Queen of Wands, coming in and taking him out. And also the ethics, the higher ethics, take him out. It's almost as if he's having problems with the cabinet. That's what I think. I think Stephen Miller is having problems with the cabinet, and I think the cabinet is going to try and get rid of him. That's what I predict, which is crazy. All right, let's do some blitzing. Did we get the order to blitz away? I don't know. I don't know. I imagine we did. All right, is America preparing for war with Iran? That is a really good question. What are y'all thinking? Do you think that Iran is finished? Do you think there's any way that the Iranian government could survive given what a global threat they are? Strength. Four of Swords, death. It's possible that if Khamenei does not leave, the supreme leader of Iran, that he will be captured. He is in his 80s. I feel he is still in Iran. He is moved to another safe zone in Tehran, and he is likely going to be arrested and captured. His feeling is that he would rather somebody he trusts take his life. This reminds me of the capture of Cleopatra when they showed her Mark Antony's body. She refused to believe that he was dead. So they brought her to Antony. She saw he was dead, and then she returned back to her chambers and had her people assist her in their suicide, right? So you have this kind of, when these two cards come together, this can be physical death, particularly with an issue of strength, and then incarceration. So that leads me to think that this guy could be captured, and that he fears capture so much so that he could ask one of his people to take him out rather than be captured by the Americans. If it were me, if I were him, I'd get out. I'd get out of Iran, because this will likely end in either suicide via assistance or capture. That's how these cards look. You know, these cards are not good at all in terms of just, yeah. So I would say it's probably the end of the Supreme Leader with those cards. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to get out. Those cards look terrible. That was like, take me out. I don't think that why is it, I don't know. Can he not get to Russia? He was thinking about trying to escape via Turkey, but Turkey doesn't want him. He better get out. Better get out fast. That's what I think. Will a peace deal be reached over Ukraine? Boy, not as long as Putin's in office, right? Because he doesn't want that. Hanging it up. Poverty, economic strain. Hopes and fears. Knight of Swords. And the final outcome is the King of Wands. I don't see an end to this war. It seems to be slogging on. And it's a battle of wills. But because of this energy here, which is with Zelensky, I would say that Zelensky has an advantage over Russia at this time. And yeah, taking the weapons away from the Knight of Swords. Excuse me. That candle's, I'm getting an allergic reaction to that candle. Oh, will we have a government shutdown next month? Don't you think that Trump would? I'm gonna have to put this out. It's making me cough. It's like a perfume or something. Oh my god. Oh, sneezing. Okay, let's look at government shutdown. Oh. People are working very hard to make sure that that doesn't happen. Trump is an obstacle. No, we will not have a government shutdown. Congress will override the president. All right, Secretary Noem. What do you guys think? Do you think she needs to be done and dusted? Mm-hmm. Done and dusted. Secretary Noem. 10 of Cups. 7 of Cups. Ace of Cups. Isn't she pregnant? She's stepping down for maternity leave. Because she's gone. She's leaving. She has an excuse to get out of there, but she's going to be replaced by a guy. It's interesting. This is a card that can sometimes be pregnancy. It's a good way for her to get out of the hot seat is to step down because of pregnancy leave. That's probably what's going to happen. What a great way to get out of there. I got to go. I got a baby. Right. She's not pregnant. Caroline is. Oh, well, she's out of there because she's being replaced. Caroline Levitt is pregnant. Oh, that's right. Well, this person is leaving because of something. Is Caroline Levitt? Who's Caroline Levitt? Is she the spokesperson? Yeah, this person appeared to be leaving, and I don't know why. They were being replaced. I saw a man coming in replacing her. Interesting. Will ICE withdraw from Minnesota? ICE. Wow, I wouldn't want to be ice because Archangel Michael is there. And this is the card that has to do with exposures. So it's very likely that the truth will come out about what's going on with those facilities. This is not good if you're trying. You've got a hermit card, which would indicate an investigation of some type. And the Ice King, you have some kind of legal action taken to control. There's also violations. There's multiple violations going on. But I have a feeling that this is going to result in some kind of expose about ICE. That's kind of how I feel because you have truth and then you have this Knight of Cups, which is kind of like a desire to make things better. But, God, Trump is just one. Trump has a personality where he just pisses everybody off. No, FEMA cannot handle the natural disasters. No, they can't. And that is the conversation that we had previously, Chuck and I, and we'll have over again, which is that this is the worst weather, the coldest weather, I think, on record is coming in. And that's going to come with consequences. But the worst part is the massive flooding that's going to happen. And I just don't think that this it's another reason that people are going to hate Trump is his inability to handle this disaster. And the disaster is hitting red states. It's almost entirely red states. FEMA future. See, that Knight of Swords, that's the weather we've been seeing, is we've been seeing that Knight of Swords energy. This is going to be a crap load of money, you guys. Disaster relief. They always give it to their friends for crappy things like FEMA trailers that are disgusting. It's just money that's being burned for contracts for things we don't need rather than stuff being produced. The federal government should go back to producing stuff. We should have our own factories again. This is going to be very good for Democrats. As painful as it is for the United States to be going through this stuff, it will be very good for the Democrats, and we can use it in November. This is about money and resources. And that means we'll be able to push through Congress more programs that will help citizens because the nation will be supporting it. It's our money, and we would like to use our money to take care of our people. It's our money. It's our taxes. We worked for it. It's our money. Don't tell us what to do with our money. Oh, a better thing is defense, right? Or it's taking our money and giving it to their rich friends and then gaslighting us and saying that our tax dollars should not be used to make life better for Americans. So you have this kind of wealth and abundance and empress pushing through is very good. It means that the money will be made available, and that means that the Democrats are going to be able to push these ideas in Congress. I think so. I think we have to, don't you? The world is watching. There could be economic consequences. We could be penalized. The rest of the world could seriously penalize the United States, and there could be long term economic consequences so that the world begins to burden the US because of Trump. You want to cost us money with tariffs? Well, we've decided to go ahead and do this because you're in violation of international laws and former contracts you had with us. And so the world responds economically, which leads to heartbreak. So he's just they are not without, they're not going to just sit back and be victims of the United States. This is about them taking proactive measures. Yeah, they're leaving. Probably a good idea. Hezbollah and Hamas become extinct probably because they'll no longer be fueled. I mean, this is the whole reason we have to take down the Iranian government is because they're fueling terrorism. Once they're gone, it's going to be real hard to fuel terrorism. Qatar is still funding terrorism. Certain people in Qatari government. Well, they will just try and invest in countries that they think are sympathetic to their cause. So this is talking about new partnerships. So they may run off to Pakistan. Many of them could flee to Pakistan or other countries they think they can get some sympathy from. What's the future of Trump's peace group? Oh, please. I am so disengaged from this. I am so disengaged. I just don't. All right, Trump's Gaza peace, which has Putin in it. Yeah, that was a really smart idea. And Erdogan. Yeah, great. Erdogan that wants to massacre the Kurds. Great. Keep up the good work. All right, the peace. Trump's Netanyahu isn't going. So Netanyahu's now mad at Trump. Finally. You never liked him anyway. You're just using him to get intel. Ooh, 10 of Swords. It's a flop. It looks like it's a flop. His board is a flop. It will go nowhere, and a new board will emerge. This board will flop, and then but the idea is a good idea, and so yeah, but it will flop. I'm worried about JD Vance and how much damage he can do in the next two years. Empress, Four of Swords, Five of Swords, Four of Pentacles, Five of Swords, excuse me, and the Knight of Swords. I would say Europe is extremely angry at the United States right now. Extremely angry at the United States right now. They want to drop documents if necessary to completely cut its relationship with the United States. If that's what you want, that's what we will do. You're no longer part of NATO. You want to go it alone. It would be economically devastating to the United States, but they will issue the documents if that's what we want. So the next person that comes in, whether it's Kamala Harris or Mark Kelly, I don't think it's going to be Buttigieg. He's got to he maybe as VP. He's got kids to raise. I'm thinking Mark Kelly. God, I would love to see Harris as AG or Supreme Court. People might think she's too old at 64. She'll be 64. She's about my age, right? Yeah, so maybe AG, but this is saying a great healing that we have a lot of work to do to heal this dynamic with them because it's bad. our relationship with Europe is bad to the point where they, oh, you want to leave? Great, let's drop the documents, get the hell out. When those experts come in, okay, how much money do you, okay, so we don't need that, you can go. And then we'll slice that as well. Also, Israel's becoming militarily independent. They don't need the United States to do anything for them. They're making their own bombs now and starting to sell them. So nobody needs the United States. You can go. We'll be fine. We'll get weapons from our partners, NATO allies. You're clearly not happy. So then when the Democrat comes in, you have that Page of Cups come in, and that's a healing. Well, everybody calm down. And then we have to clean up this disaster that this lunatic has created and double down on our commitment to NATO. Well, the ICE murders in Minnesota, God, don't you wish that would happen? Let's take a look. Thank you all for being here. If you could like, share, and subscribe, I'd really be grateful. Also, if you'd like to see me as a tarot reader, you can book me through Booksy, Dr. Whimsy Anderson, through Booksy, and also medical consults. I have not had breakfast yet. What y'all eating and drinking? I haven't. I just am having coffee. That's it. Just coffee. Ice be brought to justice. Look at that. The devil. Karma, Wheel of Fortune is coming for them. Hopes and fears, examination. Final outcome. Your wish has been granted, Joel. They are evil. God, I hope they're filming what's going on in those ICE detentions. Ooh, there's the investigation. Oh my God, there is a huge expose coming out about ICE. It's happening right now. There's going to be attempts to cover up the ICE information because this is bad. Look at that. That is bad, 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 bad. You've got a tower coming with ICE. Bad news, man. An investigation into the devil. Wow. Yeah, probably. I think so. What are y'all thinking about the fact that Michael Cohen has been outed for being one of the fixers that was bullying rape victims? Anybody surprised about that? Cohen's relationship. He's fleeing questioning. His job was to simply get rid of people, pay people off, and be the fixer, not to judge what Mr. Trump did, not to question what Mr. Trump does. My job is to fix it. My job is to scare people off, intimidate investigative reporters. That's my job. And so what you take from this experience is that Michael Cohen was part of his character, part of Michael Cohen's character is that he is loyal to a fault, that he admires loyalty above all else, that if you can be loyal to somebody, there's no greater thing than to be loyal. My loyalty, I give you my loyalty. And this was something that was considered good and something that he was proud of. And he was a mob lawyer. He was involved. He proudly says, "I know everybody in the mob." Right? This is something he openly bragged about. He was the thug lawyer that the mob brings in order to terrorize victims of the mob. And because he's the mob, he thinks like the mob, which is you don't snitch. Don't be a snitch. And you are loyal to the boss. And that was his Don, right? So that it's this loyalty, this fidelity that I was willing to do anything for my Don, right? What do you call a man who does that? A fool. So the extent to which he did that is the thing he's attempting to cover up. And that is the expose. High priestess is to reveal that which is hidden. He's very angry about this because in his mind, he's confused because in his mind, there's nothing greater than this type of loyalty. So in his mind, this was being an ethical person. Look at how loyal I am to the mafia. Look at how loyal I am to Don Corleone, Donnie Trump, the Don, right? The Don. Donnie the Don. He also is hiding financial information. This is something that keeps coming out about Michael Cohen, is that there's something here about money. I'm seeing money around him, theft, money, and possibly him hiding money outside the United States. This has come up a lot with him, that he possibly was part of some criminal activity that involved money or money laundering and investments that were outside the US. And there's something about theft here of money laundering. And he's also hiding information about that. It goes back really to what Mueller had said to him when we did a remote. Better start making some phone calls, or you're going to spend the rest of your life in a prison cell. So that's what we have. He's fleeing like a thief. Keep digging, because he's not only hiding some of the crimes he helped commit under Epstein, he's also hiding money and foreign bank accounts. He's got them too, from what I've seen. I think so. Pretty scary, but true. Yes, he was. Yes, Mark is back in heading back to San Francisco. Yeah, I think so. I think it's very possible, Web Shiva, will Europeans call in U.S. debt bonds? From what that last throw looked like, it's very possible that that's what we're looking at, is the economic strain that Europe, look at that fear, look at that nine of wands coming in. They could do something like that, and there could be this, no, I don't want to cooperate, no, I don't want to pay it, no, you can't make me. Then we wind up in that dynamic with this lunatic in the White House. Best deals, I can get you the best deals. Look at that. So yeah, they are going to possibly say, great, you can give us back the money you owe us. And then the response is no, Four of Cups. Well, then we're going to start confiscating U.S. property that's based in NATO countries. How do you like that? Including bank accounts. You don't threaten NATO. You don't play the punk with us. We're bigger than you. That's a problem. Yeah, it could happen. All right, Japan is already calling U.S. debt loans good. These psychopaths bankrupted our country. They didn't want to pay their taxes. What a great country. Since 1983, I've been blackmailing rich people, right? These are bad people. It goes back to what Sasha Cohen's, what Sasha Riley said. The man that was trafficked, the hillbillies sold him to Trump, to these rich people. They sold me to some rich people. What, 1983? What the hell did I know? I was with them hillbillies out of Oklahoma, and then they shipped me out. Right? I was on Epstein's plane, right? I was flying on those planes. My daddy was a helicopter pilot, right? So it goes back to what Riley said. He said that as bad as those hillbillies were that first began to traffic him, as bad as that was, he said it was that nobody was more evil and more horrible than those rich motherfuckers. That's what he said. Yeah. So it go also if you look at a Trump modeling agency and those Teen USA, what the people have said is that's where the smoking gun is. Teen USA, and when they started to do those teen pageants, and then you have people like Prince Zayed out of United Arab Emirates, who was trying to kill his wife, the Sheikh. She had to go and escape. I think he killed two of his daughters, right? And then you have Mohammed bin Salman out of Saudi Arabia. He most likely blackmailed him too, because that guy nearly beat his wife to death, Mohammed bin Salman, when he isn't chopping up reporters. We know he must have had serious dirt on the Saudis because he had Saudi residency. He'd be the first Jewish guy in U.S. history to be given Saudi residency. He also had a Austrian passport, multiple passports. So you know he was blackmailing a ton of people and supplying dirt and kiddie porn. So 1983 was a good investment. Making kiddie porn in 1983 that ultimately blackmailed some of the most powerful people in the world is a great business to get into. And the best part of all is that the US government is a great country that's going to allow you to do it, because they're going to allow you to take all that money, all that contraband, all those abused children out of foster care, etc. The US government's going to let you do it openly because you're supplying intel, because you're an informant. They'll even let you take all that money outside the US and hide it in honey pots in Panama and everywhere else. What a great country. I'm openly blackmailing people. I've been doing it since 1983. Don't listen to Grok. Don't listen to artificial intelligence. Listen to me. I've been doing this since 1983. Hey, everybody, take a look. I'm being open about it, right? So they're very, very bad people doing very, very horrible things, and the truth will come out. Yeah. All right, you guys, stay strong. Remember what the message from Spirit is. Now is the time to pray and hold yourself accountable for your daily activity. How do you treat one another? Are you kind? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Are you avoiding people who are abusive to you? It doesn't matter if you're biologically, it doesn't matter if you're married to them for 40 years. You are not morally obligated to be smacked around, abused, or disrespected. terminate it. Well, in modern Buddhism, we would say you're in violation of the law. There is a natural order. In modern Buddhism, you are not put on this earth to be abused by anyone. And furthermore, in Buddhism, you yourself are the Buddha. And so you have a moral responsibility to treat yourself with the utmost respect, which means you must avoid, whenever possible, people that don't show you the respect you deserve. You don't have to engage it or try to be nice to them. You need to avoid them. That's the spirit. Your karma is to learn that you are not garbage. That is your karma. Your karma is not to be treated like garbage. That's not modern Buddhism. Modern Buddhism is that you recognize that you too are a Buddha, and so you are not garbage, and therefore if someone treats you like garbage, you are morally obligated to remove yourself. So you remove yourself from the toxic environment. Pray often to strengthen yourself and strengthen your resolve, and be about your business, caring for your needs to the best of your ability, making sure you are well fed, cared for, and housed, and whenever possible, help others as well. That if we stick to that, this horror that we're seeing will pass in time. It will pass, and you will have survived it. That's the message that we're all supposed to be hearing right now. Okay, I am out of here. I think that we've gotten to most of the questions. I don't think so. We say that, but it's going to be real hard for us to do anything with that. Yeah, exactly. But what we have to ask ourselves is, how did we get to this point? How did so many people buy into this? All right, you guys, thank you so much again for hanging with me. If you would like to get in for a reading with me, you can contact me through Booksy. You can book me through Booksy. Dr. Whimsy Anderson. I'm available for tarot card readings, remote viewing, medical consults. Astrocartography's been huge lately. I think a lot of people are just thinking of leaving. I think a lot of people are just, they don't know if they can continue to do this. Yeah. So I just put my link there if you guys need that to book me. It'll be in the communication section. I'll also put it in the description as well. All right. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for hanging with me. It was a fun brunch. I appreciated you being here. Bye.